I don't know if this ever happened to you, but this happened to me last October. Yes, last October, but bear with me because it feels like yesterday. I remember waking up feeling extremely refreshed, thinking, wow, what a great night's rest. I even beat my alarm clock this time. As I reach over to turn the alarm off, that's when I notice it's 10 o'clock. I'm late by 2 hours. I jump out of bed and I rush around getting ready. As I make my way into the living room putting my boots on, that's when I notice my wife is watching television, and she has this look. Sweetie, what are you doing? She asked me. I have no clue what's going on, because normally my wife is sleeping when I'm going to work. That's when she informs me that I've only been asleep for an hour and a half. It is 10 o'clock at night. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joseph O'Donnell, and today we're going to talk about sleep. During this time, I'm going to talk to you about what happens when we're sleeping. I'm going to talk to you on average how many hours of sleep we should be getting, and what happens when we don't get that sleep. Now that you know what I'm here to do, let's go ahead and talk about sleep. The sleepfoundation.org breaks sleep down into a pattern. You have your non-rapid eye movement and your rapid eye movement. I'm going to refer to non-rapid eye movement as non-REM. This makes up about 75% of the night. During this time, you go through 4 stages. During stage 1, that's when you're still in between awake and sleep. It's a light sleep. You still hear things going on, to include your breathing. You can actually feel everything around you. As we move on to stage 2, this is the onset of sleep. Our surroundings start to diminish. Our breathing and our heart rate becomes regular. And our body temperature actually drops. This allows us to move into stage 3 and 4. This is the most deepest and restorative part of the night. During this time, our blood pressure drops, our muscles relax, allowing blood to flow into them. This allows our bodies to heal a little bit. Energy is restored during the stage 3 and 4, and sometimes hormones are released, such as growth hormones, that are essential for growth and development. During 25% of the night, we go through rapid eye movement, or REM. During this stage, our eyes actually dart around, where we get rapid eye movement from, and our brain becomes so active that we start to dream. This provides energy to our brain and body. Now that you know what happens during sleep, let's go ahead and talk about how many hours on average we should be getting. WebMD says on average, sleep varies between infants, teenagers, and adults. Infants on regular should be getting around 16 hours of sleep, where teenagers only require about 9 hours of sleep. But once you become an adult, sleep varies between 7 to 8 hours. However, a lot of adults can actually survive on 5 hours of sleep, or some adults like myself require 10 hours of sleep. Now that you know how many hours of sleep is required, let's go ahead and talk about what happens when we don't get this sleep. First thing, obviously, we become groggy, our minds work a little bit slower, and besides the obvious, there are some health issues that we need to be concerned with. Obesity happens if there's sleep loss involved, diabetes, hypertension, and a lot of times anxiety symptoms start to develop. We even get depressed. Sometimes we even lead to alcohol use. Now that you know the effects of sleep loss, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about some of the things that are recommended by Leslie Berry from health.com. Some of the things that she recommends: change your habit. If you're an avid coffee drinker or you need that cup of tea, drink it earlier in the day. She recommends about 2 o'clock at the latest. Another thing you can do is change the environment around you. Not only to put the blinds, but get lower wattage bulbs to help, and you want to put the cell phone away. There's no reason for you to be having the cell phone next to you, so go ahead and turn it off or put it in the other room. This is just recommendations. Also, sip wine sooner in the day. Rather than sipping it after a meal or during a meal, sip it earlier in the day, possibly when you get back from work. Take that hot bath after work, that's well deserved, rather than taking it before sleep, because when you take a bath, it actually increases your body temperature. However, when we're sleeping, our body temperature needs to be a little bit lower. Now that you know some of the things that are recommended, hope it helps you out. Let's go ahead and talk about what we've talked about. We talked about sleep, how it's a pattern between non-rapid eye movement and rapid eye movement. We talked about how it's broken down into 4 stages. Then we talked about, on average, how sleep varies between infants, teenagers, and adults. And we talked about how if we don't get these hours of sleep, what happens to our bodies. A lot of health effects, and I've recommended a few things that who was it? Leslie Barrett from health.com recommended. Other than that, these are the things that are covered for sleep.